Steady. You ain't heard nothing. You want to hear Toot Toot Tootsie? Right. Hold on. Toot Toot Tootsie. Goodbye. Toot Toot Tootsie.
This is Al Jolson, and his words, "You ain't heard nothing yet," ended the era of silent films. This is Greta Garbo, a great star who became a legend in her own lifetime. This is Ben-Hur, produced in 1926, one of the most exciting movies of all time. These are Hollywood's golden years. I'm Gene Kelly. I work in the movies. And like most people who do, I'm a movie fan. I've been one all my life, I guess, ever since I was a kid, and used to go to the movies every Saturday afternoon with a gang. And then later on, Saturday night, with a girl. I don't think that I can count the wonderful moments that movies have given me. And I'll bet most of you feel that way, too. Well, today we're going to try and recapture some of those moments. That's what our story is about Hollywood the way it used to be. Those golden years of silent films and the glamorous stars that made them. For some of you, our show will be a fond remembrance of things past. For others, I think an exciting new adventure. So, turn the film back, but way back, and start from the beginning. Strangely enough, the story of Hollywood in the movies begins in New York at the turn of the century. Vaudeville, burlesque, and the legitimate stage are flourishing, but a new form of entertainment is emerging to challenge their popularity: the movies. They're making movies on Manhattan rooftops, the heart of the Bronx, and the outer reaches of Brooklyn. From the very first, movies are popular. Large audiences throng to the early theaters. The admission price is a nickel. It's new, it's fun, and anyone can afford to go to the Nickelodeon. In 1903, the movies take a giant stride forward with a great train robbery. It's crude, but for the first time, movies tell a dramatic story. This classic Western, shot in the wilds of New Jersey, is an overnight box office smash. Now movies are no longer a fad. Movies are big business. Thomas Edison, given principal credit for the invention of the movie camera, assembles the major film companies of the day. They plan to monopolize the film business by eliminating all competition. Harassed by this newly formed trust, the independent movie makers flee west to California. Legend says for the sunshine, but the truth of it is, most of them come to be close to the Mexican border, to escape lawsuits and injunctions. On the outskirts of Los Angeles, they settle in a small rural community called Hollywood, where the reception is somewhat less than enthusiastic. In 1914, director Cecil B. DeMille arrives to film Hollywood's first important motion picture, The Squaw Man. Within a few years, the majority of the film companies follow, and Hollywood becomes a center of motion picture production. Before long, movie making becomes as much fun to watch as the movies themselves. And, as always, the stars are the main attraction. Here is Florence Lawrence, the first motion picture star. Stage stars Maurice Costello and Clara Kimball Young. Francis X. Bushman, a sculptor's model who becomes the first matinee idol. John Bunny, the screen's first funny man. Theda Bara, who adds the word vamp to the American language. Wally Reed, the clean-cut all-American boy. And, of course, the immortal William S. Hart, our first great Western star. Pearl White, the queen of the Saturday afternoon serials, forever identified with the perils of Pauline. One of the greatest star makers of them all is a veteran performer from circus, burlesque, and vaudeville, Mack Sennett. His mission in life is to make audiences laugh, and he stops at nothing to do it. He produces zany comedies on a furious assembly line basis, and, in the process, discovers many great stars, among them Mabel Normand and Fatty Arbuckle. Ben Turpin, Wallace Beery and Gloria Swanson, Carole Lombard, one of the screen's brightest comedians. With his lovely bathing beauties, Sennett introduces cheesecake to the movies. They never went into the water. They were too busy posing for publicity shots. But pretty girls are only a part of the wonderful world of Mack Sennett. David Wark Griffith, one of the greatest directors the screen has ever known. He gives the movies respectability and a language of its own. Fade out, split screen, long shot, close up. He develops and perfects these exciting visual techniques. Edison may have supplied the mechanical tools, but Griffith uses them to mold motion pictures into the only art form created in the 20th century. D.W. Griffith's Birth of a Nation, the first film masterpiece, opens in 1915. This epic of the Civil War takes audiences by storm, and they willingly pay the unheard-of admission price of $2. This is the famous homecoming scene between Henry B. Walthall, a Southern colonel, and Mae Marsh, his young sister. The actor's moving portrayals are a tribute to Griffith's skill as a director. Scenes of the Ku Klux Klan are to mar Griffith's triumph. His sympathetic treatment of the Klan arouses furious controversy. Many newspapers attack him, and when the picture opens in New York and Boston, riots break out. Griffith himself is bewildered and shocked by this reaction. To make amends, he resolves to create an epic movie of man's inhumanity to man, a cinema's sermon against bigotry through the ages. He calls it Intolerance. Made nearly a half-century ago, it still remains the most ambitious movie spectacle of all time. The end of Griffith's story is not a happy one. The industry he created and loved passes him by. He dies alone and forgotten in a Hollywood hotel room in 1948 at the age of 73, leaving behind something of himself in every film made since his day. But his stars remember him. Lillian Gish, Richard Barthelmess, and Mary Pickford. Mary Pickford, America's sweetheart. Discovered by D.W. Griffith, she becomes the most popular star of the silent era, and for 14 years, the most popular woman in the world, with an indefinable quality about her, something more than a girl, yet not quite a woman. Mary has a certain youthful exuberance that makes the country take her to its heart. Here in a scene from Rags with Marshall Nealon, she portrays the tender innocence of young love. Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm. Another side of Mary, the adorable but impish little girl. During her reign as Queen of the Cinema, Mary Pickford is loved and admired as no other woman of her time. With a combination of a fabulous movie salary and uncanny business ability, she rapidly becomes the wealthiest actress in motion pictures. Mary Pickford has everything a woman can want: fame, fortune, and, as a husband, Hollywood's most dashing leading man, Douglas Fairbanks. Yet, even until she is past 30, her movie fans insist she wear her long curls. They want to remember her only as Little Mary, the girl with the curls, America's sweetheart. In 1914, an English music hall performer shuffles onto the American screen to rival Mary's popularity. Charlie Chaplin combines comedy and pathos to create his Little Tramp character, and he captivates audiences throughout the world. Hired by Max Sennett at $150 a week, within only a year, Charlie's weekly salary zooms to $10,000. Films of Chaplin's, like The Pawn Shop, are hailed by critics as comic masterpieces. Charlie Chaplin becomes the comedy sensation of his time. His name becomes a household word. Children play with Chaplin dolls. Adults imitate the Chaplin walk. Even his good friend, Douglas Fairbanks. In later films, his artistry reaches new heights. This is a classic scene from The Gold Rush, in which Chaplin and Max Swain, his perennial foil, play two starving prospectors. events in his personal life are to make Charlie Chaplin a perpetually controversial figure, his comic genius remains unchallenged. World War I, and Hollywood stars for the first time use their popularity to influence the public. Admiring fans buy millions of dollars of Liberty bonds from their movie favorites. Marie Dressler, Sessue Hayakawa, Douglas Fairbanks, and Mary Pickford. World War I is over. The public's enthusiasm for movies now results in the growth of theater chains. The Nickelodeon is replaced by ornate movie palaces. Delighted patrons sink ankle-deep into oriental rugs, and ushers dress like admirals and march like West Point cadets. To meet the demand for more films, the production companies build giant studios, walled-in cities, employing thousands of people. Heading these financial empires are powerful tycoons, Zucker and Lasky, Schenck, Mayer, Thalberg, Laemmle, and Fox. Pretty girls and handsome young men flock to the glamour town, seeking fame and fortune. For show business people, Hollywood is now the big time. On the creative level, coordinating the work of talented writers, actors, and technicians are a whole new group of great directors. Men like von Stroheim, Ford, Vidor, Lubitsch, King, Flaherty. But the attraction that packs them in and still does is the motion picture star. The public wants them. And so Hollywood creates them. Here are some of the great ones of that silent era. Norma Shearer, Rod LaRock and Dolores Del Rio, Ronald Colman, Tom Mix and Tony, Marion Davies, Lionel Barrymore, Rin Tin Tin, Jackie Coogan, Lillian Gish, Buster Keaton, Mae Murray, Gary Cooper, Dolores Costello, and the It Girl, Clara Bow. They were all wonderful.